Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good evening to all 5 of you and all of our amazing administration that came in on an extra board day for a special meeting. So I want to thank everybody. We do not expect this meeting to be very long. We will try and get through quickly and efficiently. I will, pursuant to the Public Meetings Act, public notice of this meeting has been given by the board secretary in the following manner: posting written notice on the official bulletin board at the Voorhees Township Public Schools Administrative Building on May 14, 2024, sending written notice to the Courier Post on May 14, 2024, filing written notice with the clerk of Voorhees Township on May 14, 2024, and posting on the Voorhees Township website on May 14, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board Secretary, will you do roll call?
Mr. Bryce.
Here.
Ms. Ketover.
Here.
Mr. Rosen.
Here.
Mr. Rosner.
Here.
Mrs. Rudder.
Here.
Mrs. Stewart.
Here.
Mrs. Stupler. Here. Ms. Verdi.
Here.
Mrs. Watson.
Here. We will be skipping the first executive session in light of the later one that we do have. Audience participation. Anyone wishing to address the board, please approach the side table on the right and write your name and address on the login sheet. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public relating to items on the agenda for this board meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some later time by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or in the context of a later board meeting of any action the board does take. Board comments. I have a couple that I want to just share in light of tonight's agenda and explaining how some of this has come about. As you know, originally when we put out the agenda for special session, we only had an executive session, but we don't have meetings in July and until the very end of August, and we had some pressing critical issues that came up in the interim, and we wanted to make sure that we did them as soon as possible. Those are all items on the agenda, including the school calendar, which I will address in a second, and we have two personnel issues that we wanted to take care of so that we could hire for an open job role and hire for a new position. So that was the reason for some additional items being added to the calendar, being added to the agenda. The school calendar, I wanted to address that as well. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to our VTEA president, Tricia Salka, Ms. Salka, as well as to Craig Pettitamage and to our superintendent and to our board for being incredibly thoughtful and solution-oriented. We had several different complaints related to the calendar. One, we were ending 2025. June 23rd, it was conflicting with the start of day camps and sleepaway camps. We also were not recognizing our diverse population in several holidays that had been requested throughout the year last year, and we wanted to make sure that we were representative of our entire diverse population, and so we wanted to make at least our first attempts at making the calendar more representative of all of our community members. We're a work in progress, and we could only gain but so many days in a calendar that's already been approved, and now we're going to make modifications to it. So next year will be even better, and we'll be able to gain some additional days. But we did what we could with what we have, and I'm happy to say that on the agenda we have, if it's approved, we would have representation for Diwali and Eid. And next year we hope that we'll have some additional holidays added to the calendar. I think that's all that I have to say for now. Any other board comments?
I have a few as well. First, I'd like to make a motion to rescind my previous vote in finance, and I'd like the whole motion rescinded. I erroneously voted in the minutes, and I should have abstained.
Can you, just for the record, to be clear, can you explain what happened so that people understand what we've never had a rescission. Could you provide some additional context around what happened?
I overlooked a matter. I think I just missed something on the agenda that I should have abstained from, and I think there was just overwhelming amount of information, and I unfortunately made an error, and I misheard it. So I should have abstained from the whole motion under finance.
For the whole motion?
Yes.
Okay.
So can I speak procedurally for a second? So the motion is not a motion is not the mechanism we use for rescinding votes. And I brought my Robert's Rules of Order with me today. The proper procedure is that it's a point of order, a request for a point of order to change an improper vote. Then the board president would recognize the point of order, ask for additional information, ask if there are any objections from other board members. If there are no objections, you can sustain it. And just to be clear, under the rules, this is only allowed if it does not change the outcome of the vote for the matter. And I believe in this instance there would not be any change in outcome, so that if the point of order was sustained, that would be acceptable.
Okay. I mean, does she formally have to do a point of order?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
It's not a motion; it's a point of order.
Oh, sorry. Point of order.
Okay. Are there any objections to the point of order? Having heard none, sustained.
And the vote will be changed in the record.
Perfect. And the vote will be changed to the record. Okay.
I just have some other questions about this calendar. I just heard about the calendar on Friday afternoon. I'm not sure if any of the board members. And not that I object to the calendar, I think we should be inclusive and representative of our community, which I'm fully in favor of and I 100% support. I just don't understand where it came from, because I know Dr. Hackett did have meetings over the winter, I believe, when a lot of the feedback came in from the community, and I thought she gave a speech saying they weren't going to make any changes. So I'm not sure what the rush decision was and why it didn't go through committee. Unless it did go through committee, maybe I overlooked the notes, I'm not sure. So I thought we're supposed to be a collaboration of the board. Unless I missed something, I don't see any collaboration going on. So I just have some, those questions. That's it.
Any other board comments?
Yes. I just wanted to also take a minute to acknowledge the changes that we're going to be making tonight, potentially making tonight on the 2024-2025 school calendar, notably to add Diwali and Eid as in-service days to allow our families to celebrate these important cultural and religious holidays as a day off to observe. When we first discussed the calendar in December, these issues and proposal came up, and I know that I and other board members did express support for this. And while we weren't able to get it done back in December, I'm so glad that we can do this today. And I wanted to thank the administration and the BTEA for continuing to think about this issue, to address it, and especially to our faculty for being nimble enough to make these changes now rather than wait another year. But I do want to acknowledge that the job is not done, and that I'm disappointed that we couldn't get the new year on next year's calendar. And I can understand that there are community members who feel hurt by that omission this year, but I also believe that we can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And overall, I am pleased that there is a plan moving forward to hopefully accommodate the new year in the future. And for these reasons, I will be voting yes on the proposal.
Any other comments? Moving forward. Can I get a motion to approve all the items under curriculum?
So moved.
Second.
I just wanted my questions answered before I'm able to make my vote.
There's no answers to your question. Everything was disclosed to you as to how the changes came about. You were provided an email explaining the rationale, explaining who was involved in the discussion rationale.
But Monica, as president, you're not allowed to act as our representative.
I didn't, that's why it's on the calendar right Randy, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. I explained why and how it came about. We went through the process. It's the appropriate process. If you do not agree with the calendar, you can vote no. That's the end of this discussion.
I think
There will be no further discussion. Any other motion to approve? I think we're ready for a vote. Thank you.
Online voting is open. Mr. Bryce?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I have 8 yeses and 1 abstention from Mrs. Stuber. Motion passes.
Can I get a motion to approve all of the items under personnel?
So moved. Second. Second.
I have a question on this also. Can you explain that we need a principal and a director of preschool?
So the principal is going to be the head person of the school, running the day-to-day operations of the school that's going to house over 300 students. The director, the correct title of our director is Director of Early Childhood and Literacy K-5. So that person, it works with our preschool, mainly curriculum part of the program, where this person is in charge of Crescent and our 3 providers as well, and also in charge of K-5 literacy across the district. So that person, it could not be the same person.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes. Online voting is open. Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Motion unanimously passes.
Public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board, please approach the side table on the right and write your name and address on the login sheet. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some later time by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or later for the meeting of any action the board does take.
My name is Eric Simkin. I would like to correct the record. There was a decision made on this board when Dr. Falk presented his vote to appoint Ms. Ketchum to the board. That's point number 1. Point number 2, deliberations are supposed to occur in public, and I just don't understand how there can't be any comments or back and forth between board members during a public meeting. It does violate the Sunshine Law, and I will send the letter as such. Thank you.
Board member comments. Ms. Lewis, congratulations, and I'd like to invite you up to make a couple of comments.
I just would like to say good evening to our Board of Education President, Mrs. Watson, of course to all of the Board of Education members, Superintendent Dr. Hackett, also to any district administration, as well as district staff, as well as families and community members. It is truly a pleasure to be here this evening as I anticipate becoming a member of the Voorhees School District. I'm so excited to make a positive impact on our youth as they are entering the initial stages of their education journey. It is with great intent that I plan to collaborate with all district administrators, teachers, staff, as well as families and our community members to make sure that we meet the needs of all students. I believe that each day is a day to excel, and I plan to lead with by example. And I'm just really honored, and I look forward to serving this community and the district as the principal of the Voorhees Early Childhood Development Center. I'm truly, truly grateful I don't think words could really express how excited I am for the opportunity. So thank you for that. I would like to acknowledge my parents as well as my son Weston for being in attendance with me this evening. And I'm just excited to do the work. I look forward to working with each and every one of you so that we can meet the needs of all students. So thank you.
There was one other comment that I forgot to make related to the calendar. I know that there was some concern related to a conference day, a full conference day that we have shifted to a half day. The district is committed to working with the staff to ensure that we get all parent-teacher conferences. That more to come on how that will be resolved, but you're heard, and we will work with you to ensure that all parents get conferences. Outside of that, any other board comments? Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It will probably be around 30 minutes, but we will not be taking action when we return. Right? Yeah, no action. So you're welcome to leave. We will literally just come back and close the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Session.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not true. That's not true. Next meeting is August 26th. At 7 o'clock at the administrative building, right? Did I say that right? Okay. And yeah, 7 p.m. and meeting adjourned, or motion to adjourn the meeting, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.